to see you there. If you don't mind, I'm going to sit down and share some of my thoughts with you. Throughout the past few years, political turmoil involving the divorce of King Henry VIII from Catherine of Aragon have turned our country's government upside down and preempted many unnecessary deaths, one being that of Sir Thomas More. This man, considered by many as a saint, was the former Sir Chancellor of England, and his inability to annul King Henry's marriage with a clear conscience led to his unfortunate demise. His execution is a widely disputed subject among those who were personally involved in the situation, and it piques the interest of myself as well as many of the common folk. Being a writer, it is my job and my duty to investigate the situation further. So if you want, you can come with me as I interview many of the people who are involved in the situation. Hello, Sir Thomas More.
Hello there.
I have a few questions for you today.
All right.
Okay, one. How do you feel about the King's request for an annulment of his marriage and a divorce from his wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Well, personally, I'm against the king's decision to divorce his current wife. I understand that many people feel that this is an unwise choice on my part, but I cannot with a clear conscience agree with the king on this matter. By no means does this mean that I disrespect him in any way, for I trust that he shall make the right decision, and I can only hope that this choice of mine doesn't harm my relationship with him at all.
Hello, Your Majesty.
Hello there, citizen.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about your previous Lord Chancellor, Sir Thomas More?
You have my permission to.
How do you feel about your request for an annulment of your marriage and a divorce from your current wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Ha! Is that even a question that people debate about? I mean, I admit my faults in marrying my brother's wife after all, and God tried to punish me for it. It's that simple, actually. I can see that what I did was wrong, and the only way to fix it would actually be to annul my marriage with my current wife.
Hello, Mr. Richard Rich. Nice to meet you.
Hello there.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
No. You can ask.
How do you feel about the King's request for an annulment of his marriage and a divorce from his wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Well, as the head of the Church of England, King Henry's decision for an annulment of his marriage and a divorce from his wife is rightfully correct. I have no disagreement with the king's decision.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Hello, Cardinal Wolsey. It's an honor to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
I'm open to questioning.
Okay. Do you owe a greater duty to the Pope or to the King?
Well, that's a difficult one. I have to listen to the king and what he tells me to do. And the king and the Pope, well, they rarely do ever disagree with one another. There actually should be no reason for me to even answer this question after all. I shouldn't be worried about things that will never happen. That doesn't mean I'm worried about anything or answering the question or anything along those lines.
Thank you. Do you mind if I ask you yet another question?
Sure.
How do you feel about the King's request for an annulment of his marriage and a divorce from his wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Well, I'm the king's advisor after all. I must agree with it. His marriage, to begin with, clearly violates the Bible, so all I'm trying to do is fix that violation. Yet the Pope still manages to deny my request for the divorce, which makes no sense to me. I mean, it's clear that this is the right thing to do, right?
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
How do you feel about the King's request for an annulment on his marriage and a divorce from his wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Well, I don't have a personal opinion on the matter. I agree with what my husband Thomas says.
Hello, Sir Thomas Cromwell. It's nice to meet you. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
I guess.
How do you feel about the King's request for an annulment of his marriage and a divorce from his wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Are you trying to entrap me? Obviously, I comply with the king's belief on this matter. My job is to serve the king, and therefore I share his feelings and thoughts. Even if I feel otherwise, why would I voice my opinions, for that would be treasonous. Please, next question. This is an insult to my loyalty.
I have no more for today. Thank you so much. Hello, Duke of Norfolk. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
Do you mind if I ask you a question regarding King Henry?
Not at all.
How do you feel about the King's request for an annulment of his marriage and a divorce from his wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Is this a choice? Should I say a word disavowing so omnipotent king? I will be putting my own behalf under fire. Thomas More was a good servant to Henry, but he was always God's first servant no matter what.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
It's nice to meet you, William Robert.
Well,
Can I have ask you a question?
go ahead.
How do you feel about the King's request for an annulment of his marriage and a divorce from his wife, Catherine of Aragon?
Well, I mostly agree with Sir Thomas More's beliefs. I'm not such a big fan of the king at all to begin with. He's irresponsible and criminal, who should not be fit to run any country, let alone the great nation of England.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello again, Sir Thomas More. I'm so sorry to hear about your conviction.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, I have one more question that my avid readers are dying to know.
I don't mind at all.
Do you believe that you deserved to receive this conviction of high treason and the punishment of execution?
No, of course I don't agree with my conviction. But with that being said, I can surely say that I did expect to receive a conviction for my disagreement that I had with the king. He understands that I won't change my opinion, so he had to find a way to make my opinion mean nothing.
Sir Thomas More, do you mind if I ask another question?
No, I don't mind at all.
Why did you choose to stand against the king and therefore the law itself?
Well, truly, I don't believe that I was breaking any laws. Sure, I refused to listen to the king, but doing so would have gone against my ideals, which would be me breaking some moral laws. In fact, I believe that the actions performed by the king himself were more unlawful than anything that I was even accused of doing.
Sir Thomas More, I only have one more question. Why did you stay silent once legally convicted?
Well, that's actually very simple. Talking would have just made everything worse. See, once I voiced my opinion, only one of two things could have happened. If I agreed with the king, I would end up lying to myself and directly contradicting what I believed in. On the other hand, if I disagreed with him, then I would be clearly going against him, and which would only make his negative feelings towards me much, much stronger.
Thank you for your time, Sir Thomas More. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
If your majesty pleases, may I ask yet another question?
You have my permission to.
Do you believe that Sir Thomas More deserved to receive his conviction of high treason and thereby execution?
Well, of course he did. He committed high treason of all things. Sure, I respected him, but once a man turns his back on his country, there is nothing that he can do to receive forgiveness. It still appalls me why such a man like him would do such a horrible crime. He must believe that he may be greater than other men, and that the law doesn't apply to him at all. Such men like that are the bane of humanity. One must know his place in the world.
Your majesty, may I ask another question?
You are allowed to, just this one last time.
Why did Sir Thomas More's opinion matter so much to you? After all, you can do whatever you want being a king.
Well, I guess it's because he was such a respected man. Of course, everyone else agreed with me, and that's why I was so concerned why More would be so wrong about something of such high importance. Having him agree with me would have made my choice undoubtedly correct, which it certainly already was. His disagreement only had me feeling worried for him and his point of view. I can only believe that this is what eventually led to him throwing away his reputation by breaking the law.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
It was my pleasure.
Hello, Mr. Richard Rich. Nice to see you again.
Hello there.
Thank you. Do I have to ask you a few questions regarding this Sir Thomas More?
Sure, you can ask.
Do you believe that Sir Thomas More deserved to receive his conviction of high treason and therefore execution?
Oh, well, as a man of great acquaintance with Sir Thomas More, I know with the utmost certainty that More is guilty of high treason against his own homeland. More's silence to adhere King Henry as the true head of the church was remarkably despicable.
Do you mind if I ask another question?
No, you can ask.
Do you believe that Sir Thomas More had a price, even after all that he went through?
Well, it's customary to think that every man has their price, where they can be bribed. But More, however, he was a true exception to this belief. With every last chance that More had to approve the divorce of King Henry, he stood by his decision to remain silent in disapproval. Truly a fool.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you, Miss Alice More. I'm so sorry to hear about your husband.
Thank you.
Do I have to ask you a few more questions involving the matter?
You're free to.
Do you believe that Sir Thomas More deserved to receive his conviction of high treason and therefore execution?
Is that even a question? My husband was a saint, the best man I'd ever known. It's truly a shame that he was tried and killed on behalf of his beliefs and stellar motives. A shame. Why do bad things always happen to good people? Why couldn't he have just sacrificed his morals and abide to the king's request? He could have done so much more good alive than he could have dead. Sometimes I question his actions and motives. I wish no more to talk of this matter. It's too unsettling to me.
I'm so sorry. Miss Alice More, may I ask another question?
I don't mind.
Do you understand why your husband had to die for his beliefs?
Well, while I undoubtedly agree with Thomas's decision to refuse the king's request, I cannot actually fathom his reasons for doing so. I mean, being a man of such formidable intellect, how didn't he foresee such a formidable outcome? Although I admired and loved Thomas for his ability to stand by his beliefs, I just sometimes wish he had succumbed to the king's command. My previous statement may kind of seem selfish, but I miss my husband and yearn for our family to be whole again.
Thank you, Mrs. Moore. I'm so sorry for about your husband.
Thank you.
Hello again, Sir Thomas Cromwell. It's a pleasure to see you. Do you have to ask you 2 questions regarding Sir Thomas More?
Well, I guess. Go ahead.
Do you believe that Sir Thomas More deserved to receive his conviction of high treason and thereby execution?
Alas, I do believe that Sir Thomas More deserved to receive his conviction for high treason and execution. A great man, no doubt, but he defied the king's request to sign the oath of supremacy and thereby committed high treason. As such, he deserves the punishment that fits the crime. It's as simple as the difference between black and white.
Do you feel that you were responsible for the death of Sir Thomas More?
Do not try to pin that on me. Why would you ask such a question? I am a Christian man with morals, and such an action would indirectly be breaking one of the 10 Commandments. Although I'm not responsible for his death, I agree with the charges held against him.
Thank you so much for your time. It's nice to see you again, Duke of Norfolk.
Well,
Do I have to ask you 2 more questions?
not at all.
Do you believe that Sir Thomas More deserved to receive his conviction of high treason and thereby execution?
Alas, my dear friend Thomas More. Such a virtuous man, why does God always punish the merciful and reward the cruel? The only crime committed was the death of an innocent man.
Do I have to ask you 1 more question?
Not at all.
Were you bothered by the fact that Thomas More refused your help?
Bothered? Such a word can't begin to describe my excruciating anguish bestowed on my heart. More was one of my closest friends, and in his darkest hours, he pushed me away. I can't understand why. Nevertheless, I must trust my dear friend's judgment.
Thank you so much, and I'm sorry for your loss. Nice to see you again, Mr. Roper, as well. Do I have to ask you 2 questions?
No, go ahead.
Do you believe that Sir Thomas More deserved to receive his conviction of high treason and thereby execution?
Of course not. The conviction of More was completely bogus. Not only was there insufficient evidence, but there was treason in our own court. Richard Richwell could rue the day he betrayed the man who started his career.
Why did you constantly fluctuate between beliefs and opinions on religious and political issues?
Well, I truly believe that people should be open to change in their lives. If we live a narrow-minded life, unwilling to change, we will be obligated to disagree and distrust with people with opposing views.
Thank you so much for your time. Hi, I'm back. As you can tell from many of the interviews, it's much better to be a live rat than a dead lion.